What's up YouTube? It's your boy GB here. So today we're going to be doing a rad drain, flush, and swap the hoses. And after the break, I'm going to show you guys a little bit about what that involves. Down here, you can see my setup. We've got some radiator fluid draining down into that bucket. And behind it, you can sort of see my drain tray that's catching some extra that is coming off the rad support. Look from the top here. See my bucket. This is the radiator here. It's the fan shroud. It's our rad cap. Right in there, you see the radiator. And it's nice and hot, and I promise it smells bad, but you probably can't get too much of a whiff of that. And yeah, that's kind of all there is to it. We're just waiting for everything to drain out right now. So I'll catch you in a little bit. Fans, well, as you can see, we are almost done draining coolant. And I am going to start filling her back up with distilled water, which is going to be our flushing agent. And we're going to run with distilled water for a while. And then take that out, and then we're going to change all these rad hoses. So this is our heater hoses that you see right here, running up into the firewall. And then over here in the block, there's our heater hose in the block. Well, that's the water pump actually, and this one goes to the block. There's our upper rad hose. You can see it's good and torn. I'll come around, give you a better look at it. And it's got this little elbow here. So we're gonna put that on our new hose as well. The system full of distilled water, more or less. I've been burping it by keeping the radiator cap only halfway closed. So that allows the excess air to come out of the system, so we can fill it the rest of the way. And now we're gonna just let it come up to temperature, and then we're gonna drain this distilled water, and we're gonna swap it out for new coolant. So when it goes to about that second line there, which I think is around 75, then we're gonna swap that out. So right now I'm just waiting for the block to cool down so I can drain my distilled water. It's still pretty hot to the touch, so I'm gonna let it be. And in the meantime, I have just been transferring my drip trays into my empty distilled water containers. So this is pretty custy. You can see this stuff is well due for changing. Now some of this particulate matter, most of it didn't come out of the radiators. Most of it came out of this disgusting tray, but even the stuff that came straight from the rad doesn't look all that great, so I'm happy to be changing it. One other thing I do want to say, used fluids are never good for the environment, but coolant is particularly bad. It's glycol based, so it smells sweet. So that's part of why I've got this drip sheet here. All this stuff is on my sheet, which is going to get cleaned up and disposed of safely rather than being on the ground. It does attract animals. If you're doing this and you have dogs or cats around, you definitely want to make sure they're like in the house or in the other yard, because this stuff is really toxic and smells good. So make sure to keep them away from that, and be friendly to your local neighborhood. So here I'm bordering on this forest here, so I've been really careful, and I'm going to scour it and pick up any excess that does get through the sheet, because we do have some little holes from when we were starting up. But most of it is pretty safe on this sheet and will get disposed of nicely. Anything else I'm going to clean up after. So while my phone was dead, I cut down and fitted my new radiator hose, and we'll come around and see it. So yeah, I cut it down so that it wouldn't kink here or over there on the thermostat side, and it actually fits better than my old one, which I have right here in pieces. It was something like this. And here I have my new heater hoses. So I'm about to cut those down. I just removed them. And yeah, then we've just got our lower radiator hose, which I'll introduce. It's over on this side. And we can just see it down here. That's the low rad hose right there. Comes in there. That's very important. That feeds the engine. So that's everything coming out of the radiator. And then the upper hose is our return line. So yeah, here we go. That's kind of the final phase. We've had just a slight delay, but she's now all back together. As you can see, our new lower radiator hose is in, complete with factory sticker, and our new heater hoses are on. This one turned out a little bit shorter than I think I would have liked, but it doesn't really get in the way too bad, so I might leave it on. And we're mostly topped up. I got to add a little bit more coolant to the tank. Just finished burping the system, and then we're off to the races. Thanks for following along, and hope you enjoyed my video.